Google is committing up to $40 billion to Anthropic in cash and compute. That number is large enough to stop any conversation cold. But the thesis here is not about the size of the check. It is about what compute dependency actually means when two companies become this structurally intertwined. Anthropic is one of the leading frontier AI labs in the world, known for building capable models while keeping safety research central to the mission. Google has been an investor in Anthropic since early in the company's history, and Anthropic runs its infrastructure on Google Cloud. Now Google is formalizing that relationship at a scale the industry did not anticipate. Up to $40 billion, structured as both direct cash and compute on Google's own platform. That word compute is doing a lot of work in this announcement. A meaningful portion of that capital is not going to land in a bank account. Anthropic will spend it building its next generation of models on Google's infrastructure. The headline is $40 billion, a commitment being made to a company that is still private and still burning capital at frontier model scale. The structure is cash and compute. That means a meaningful portion of that $40 billion does not leave Google's own infrastructure at all. Anthropic receives it, then routes it back to Google Cloud. The investor and the infrastructure provider are the same entity, and that is not incidental to the deal. That is the architecture of the deal. Here is what is actually happening. Google has been an Anthropic investor since early in the company's history, and Anthropic already runs on Google Cloud. Now Google is cementing that relationship with $40 billion structured around compute, ensuring that as Anthropic scales, it scales on Google's infrastructure. This is not pure return speculation. This is infrastructure strategy. Compute portion of this deal is Google retaining a gravitational pull on whatever Anthropic builds next. Microsoft ran a version of this playbook with OpenAI and Azure. Google watched that dynamic unfold, and now it is executing its own version at a larger number. The frontier race has moved past model benchmarks. It is about who controls the hardware underneath the models. And right now Google is buying $40 billion of that answer. The strongest counterargument is straightforward. Anthropic genuinely needs this capital to compete at frontier scale. Training runs are growing more expensive, not less, and staying at the frontier requires resources that only a handful of backers can provide. If Google's $40 billion, even structured partly as compute, keeps a serious safety-focused lab competitive alongside OpenAI and others, that is a net benefit for the industry. More well-funded independent labs means more research diversity, more competitive pressure, and more redundancy at the frontier. The compute dependency concern may be overstated if Anthropic retains genuine control over its research agenda and product roadmap. Google's $40 billion commitment to Anthropic in cash and compute is the clearest signal yet that the frontier AI race has moved from model capability to infrastructure leverage. The check on Anthropic's balance sheet carries a gravitational pull toward Google Cloud and Google's strategic interests. Anthropic may remain independent in research direction, but when the hardware underneath your models belongs to your biggest investor, independence is a complicated word. Whoever controls the compute controls the dependency. Google just bought $40 billion of that. Like and subscribe for more.